most shocked with was, and I've seen it time and time again, I saw it in the David Branch fight and saw it in the Lyoto Machida fight, is Rockhold's top game is fucking terrifying.
Deeply impressive. Yeah.
Very impressive. I attribute that not just to his skill, which I think is considerable, but also to training on a regular basis with Daniel Cormier and Cain Velasquez. Is just his wrestling, his grappling is severely underrated. Maybe not so now, but his ability to control guys on the ground is just terrifying.
Yeah, no, he's done an amazing job. He's also got very strong submission skills.
Yes.
People, I don't think, talk about those at all. And he's submitted good people, and he's hit
submitted Bisping with that one-arm guillotine.
And some of his finishes are like highlight reel finishes.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. He's got tremendous skills. He's big for the division. You talk about a guy who dominates the pace and dominates the direction. No one can hold him down for any period of time. He's great at getting back up to his feet. He wrestles the fence very, very well, like all the AKA guys. They're all good on the fence. He's a very, very impressive fighter.
I'm impressed with him in a lot of ways, but his ability to control top-level guys.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought, my thought was when he got Chris down, like, okay, Chris is a world-class grappler. He's going to be able to get out of this situation. There'll be scrambles. There's a lot happening, but there was none of that.
Yeah.
It was just total control and ground and pound.
And for a considerable period of time.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough to watch because it was one of those where you could easily make the argument for it being stopped sooner.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it was a rough one. And now Rockhold's going to face Yoel Romero, which is very. He's the freak of all freaks. That's like, that guy was made in a lab.
Yeah. Isn't Yoel Romero fighting David Branch?
No.
Did this happen recently?
Yes.
Sorry, I've been out
Robert Whittaker got injured.
What happened? The knee again?
Most likely, if I had to guess. I don't think they released it, but there's been an injury. Maybe it's a different injury. But
when did this happen?
A couple days ago.
Wow. I've just flown to California. I haven't been using the internet, so yeah.
So, Rock, good for you.
It was only 2 days, Joe.
We should all say that. But Rockhold and Yoel now are going to fight for the interim belt.
That's a huge development.
Yeah, big development.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yoel Romero, that's
a different fight, my friend.
Yoel Romero is probably the most uncontrollable man in the universe. He is a difficult person to control in any aspect of the fight. He's a fighter. Some parts of what he does make no sense. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of his generation.
Yeah.
And yet many people take him down.
Yeah.
And he gets taken down all the time. But they can't control him. He just springs back up.
He's not worried about being taken down. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, because he comes so hard with the upper body, he leaves the lower body open. And you're right, there's no consequence to it. He can just get up whenever he feels like it. He has a greater propensity to change direction at speed than anyone else I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
People always talk about speed. They're always, this guy's fast or that guy's fast. To me, there's two kinds of speed that impress me in fighting. One is the speed of decision making. Okay, if you can make decisions, good decisions, faster than your opponent, you're going to win a lot of fights. And the other is your ability not to go in straight lines at speed, but to change direction. Speed of directional change is the most important kind of physical speed in fighting. Okay, there's plenty of people that weren't really that fast, but they can change direction quickly. And that's the kind of speed that counts in fighting. So the two kinds of speed that you need to be a fighter is speed of decision making and speed of directional change. And you see lots of fast people out there. Usain Bolt is fast, but he's not fast in directional change. That's not his thing. But the thing about Yoel Romero is there's a certain twitchiness to his movement where it's so hard to read where he's going, where he's going to be in the next half second. It's just a handful to deal with.
Yeah, that is a very good assessment of what's shocking about him.
Yeah.
His ability to go from 0 to 60 is just freakish.
Yeah. And this is him at 40.
Yeah.
Imagine what was he like when he was 25?
Well, he just doesn't look like a 40-year-old man. Just everything is wrong. He doesn't look like a normal person. Like, you look at his body, his proportions, everything looks like something from a movie.
Yeah,
it doesn't look real.
Yeah.
And that flying knee that he hit Chris with was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, you could feel it in the audience. It was terrible.
It's just the the amount of force that he can generate is just stunning. But he's also a guy that's carrying around a tremendous amount of muscle, and I wonder what kind of pace he can keep up. You know, and we saw that in the Whitaker fight. He faded a bit in that fight, wound up losing that fight. We've seen it in several of his fights. The Tim Kennedy fight, he faded in that fight and eventually came back to win. But he's got so much to feed. There's so much tissue, you know?
Yeah. No, he's a fascinating character.
Fascinating. And again, boy, wouldn't you have loved to have seen him in the UFC at 26? Yeah, I mean, when he was just dominating everyone in the wrestling scene.
Yeah, no, he's as good as they get in wrestling.
Medaled in every single world-class competition he ever entered.
And not only that, but the best wrestlers in his weight division of that time, he beat all of them. Like,
crazy.
That's as good as he gets.
Yeah. Hard to imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, John, I think we've covered basically enough. We're 3 hours in here, man.
Oh my God!
Believe
I'm sorry.
Please, it was awesome.
It's longer than one of my Instagram posts.
Your Instagram posts are amazing, by the way. I'm a huge fan.
You're one of the
way
few.
You break. That's not true. I a lot of friends share them. They send them to me in text messages occasionally.
That's very generous of you.
Your breakdowns of technique and strategy and what is actually happening, I think they're critical. I think your voice and what you're doing, like with the squad and what you're doing for jiu-jitsu as a whole, and the way you're able to articulate that and break these things down, it's really, really critical. I think it's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Very
it's
significant.
Very nice of you to say. Thank you.
And I'm really glad we finally got a chance to do this.
It's better than meeting at Denny's.
Yes. Well, Denny's meeting was fun too. What is your Twitter for people?